Coming up on the next episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
More than 50 years after the box office premiere of It's a Wonderful Life, the impact of the film was only in its first stages. Community members from a town in upstate New York had come to the conclusion, based upon compelling evidence, that the town was Frank Capra's inspiration for the town of Bedford Falls and certain key elements of the story. Out of this and a team of passionate individuals' work, a festival was born, the Seneca Falls It's a Wonderful Life Festival. Now, past its 20th year, the festival is the latest chapter in the movie's incredible legacy. It unites the actors from the film and fans who have become like family. Once a year for a weekend in which everyone can truly feel and say, "It is a wonderful life." Stay tuned to discover more about the origins and legacy of this incredible festival. Next on Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
You're now listening to Zuzu All Grown Up.
She's been featured in more than 20 films from the early days of film and television.
He is a psychotherapist and her loving husband.
Together, they are on a mission to brighten your day and your life.
It's a time to smile, a time to laugh, a time to expect more.
It's time to get inspired with your hosts, Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
It's time to meet Zuzu, all grown up.
Do you believe that life is wonderful in principle, but for some reason just isn't so consistently in practice? Every life will have its ups and downs. But have you ever thought that if there were only more people around you encouraging, uplifting, and even inspiring you, then life would be more fulfilling? If only people like George and Mary Bailey were in your inner circle, then life could truly be wonderful all the time? If so, we've got good news for you, because you can find such people on this podcast and at zuzunetwork.com. This podcast is the vision of Karolyn Grimes, Zuzu, and Dr. Chris Brunell, illustrating how the timeless message of It's a Wonderful Life can be and is applied to our modern lives and situations. Indeed, when you take that message to heart, your life will become immeasurably more wonderful. Visit us at zuzunetwork.com and listen to this podcast series to learn more about how. Now sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy another episode of Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Get ready for miracles. Get ready for Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Joining us today, we have the pleasure of welcoming Fran Barbieri, Father Jim Fennessy, Mike Mirras, and Laura Jacuzzo to discuss the foundations of the Seneca Falls It's a Wonderful Life Festival. Karolyn and Chris, I know you've been attending the festival pretty much since its inception, so this is bound to be a familiar and fond topic for you. So I'll pass the mic over to you without further ado.
Today we're being joined by many of our friends in Seneca Falls, and that's where we celebrate the movie It's a Wonderful Life. And we celebrate the town because it's a place that we feel Frank Capra actually visited and perhaps designed It's a Wonderful Life staging after that town. And so it's become very special to Chris and I think that we're going to enjoy this interview because these are our dear friends. They've seen us in good and bad. So let's begin. France, since you started the ball rolling to get the festival going, let's get her going.
I'm going to give you just a brief history. It started like all small towns. We were trying to make Thanksgiving shopping something people would come to and do. Because of the Victorian homes and whatnot, we used to do what was known as Victorian Sunday. Let me just say the bars downtown made more money than any of the merchants did. Fran Caricillo, Gail, his wife, and myself, we sat down and talked about it. What could we do? We loved the movie like most people do. And we sat and we started making similarities. We made a list. We thought, let's celebrate It's a Wonderful Life. First year at our high school, we put on the movie. We asked people to bring canned goods as admission. Regretfully, we didn't get enough to feed a titmouse, let alone a whole family. In those days, it was still open and it was on every channel everywhere. What happened is Ben Dobbins from the New York Times interviewed Fran and I. He did a huge full page in the center of the Times. And because of that, one day in my office, I got a call from Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. And once he interviewed Fran and I, it became like a wildfire. People were calling. And I'm not sure, Karolyn, if you called us or we called you, but knowing me, I probably tracked you down some way.
There's a story.
You agreed to come. Once you came, you said, yep, this is Bedford Falls, and you've been coming ever since. And you're right, it is family. I personally look forward to you coming every year. I worry about your family and happiness and tragedy that happens, and you guys always have done the same. And Seneca Falls loves you. And I think part of it is how special you are, Karolyn. And the nice part is they come every year to renew that few moments they can have with you. Every year it's gotten bigger. I mean, the first year we maybe had 300 people. And that's right, in the snow. I just told somebody, because I volunteer at the gift shop, it's only been the last 3 years we haven't had snow for the festival. You talk about a trooper. You've done that parade with a cold, with fevers, but you do it anyway. We used to move you around like building blocks. And I think what's important is you always had time for everybody. You went without lunches, you went without a break because there was a line. And most of them just wanted to be in your presence. They just wanted to know It's a Wonderful Life changed their whole world. And the other thing is, thanks to you, Monica Capra, Frank Capra's granddaughter came. You brought Mary Owens, who was Donna Reed's daughter. You brought Carolyn Coombs Muller, who was little Janie playing the piano. You brought Jimmy Hawkins. I mean, the museum wouldn't exist without you. Regretfully, I don't think much of this would exist without your support and your background. We all do love you very much. And we just hope maybe Father could put in a word to have you keep coming back for a long time. I have worked for Seneca Falls Historical Society for over 32 years. I've tried to sell women. I've tried to sell industry because Seneca Falls is the home of the first Women's Rights Conference. We're the home of Gould's Pumps, which was the largest pump manufacturer in the world at one time. Pumps made us wealthy. Women gave us notoriety, but Wonderful Life gave us fame. My greatest pleasure is sitting in the gift shop. I mean, you cannot imagine the people we get in there every day. Even days where you think, who's going to come out today? It's raining. We'll get 60 people through, and they all come because of you, Karolyn. I was interviewed by CBS this morning. The question was, how can you prove that you're the home? Seneca Falls was going through rough times. Our Gould's Pumps was being sold to ITT Industry. Our last mill in the Northeast, Seneca Mill, closed. People were out of jobs. We were losing our industry. And I said to them, what does it matter if we can't prove it? It makes us feel good. And Seneca Falls feels good thinking we're the home of It's a Wonderful Life. We love you, and you make us feel good. And you too, Chris, because she could not do what she does without you. I'm a firm believer in that. We thank you too. But Karolyn, from the bottom of my heart, I love you. I love you, Chris. And I just can't wait till December again.
That's lovely to know. And of course, I feel like our second home, and we always have. So it's a pleasure to hear that the feeling is mutual. Okay, let's go ahead here with Father Jim Fennessy. He's an expert on the history of Antonio Veracali.
I've been here in Seneca Falls for 17 years. It's a Wonderful Life is my favorite movie. So when I came here, I started coming to the festival every year and listening to everybody speak, getting to know people. And then I got more involved, not just by going to the events, but partaking of them, going to the dinners, talking to people, getting involved with the It's a Wonderful Life Museum. I was very interested in a gentleman by the name of Antonio Veracali. He was a 20-year-old Italian immigrant. He came to this country with his father. They were going to earn money so they could bring the rest of the family over. He didn't speak English, didn't write English. He worked as a laborer. There's a canal that goes through Seneca Falls, and he was a laborer for the company that was doing the work. It was in April of 1917. He was on the shore there doing some work. There's a bridge that goes over the canal. There was a young woman, Ruth Dunn, about 19. She had jumped off the bridge. Antonio heard her go in, and right away he took his coat off, and he went in after her. Not thinking about his own safety, he went out to get her. He got her, and he started to push her into shore to someone else who pulled her into shore. But Antonio, he drowned. He died. At first, it wasn't well known in town that happened, but eventually it got out that this happened. Now, they talked about the young woman jumping off the bridge, and the person who saved him, they said, well, he's an Italian. That's all they said. They didn't say his name. But more interest grew onto it, and they learned his story. Back in that time in Seneca Falls, the Italian immigrants weren't all that welcomed in town. They were a different culture, a different language, different customs. But when everybody heard the story of Antonio and what he did, I mean, he jumped in and saved the life of someone he had no idea who she was. I think that changed the view of the Italians, what people thought of them, that he would do something like that. And his father, Dominic, was left alone. The people in town got together and started to raise money so that he could bring his family over from Italy. It wasn't just the Italian people. It wasn't just some friends. It was the whole community got together. They did fundraisers, and eventually they were able to bring Antonio's mother and sisters over from Italy after the war. In the movie, It's a Wonderful Life, you see Jimmy Stewart going onto the bridge there, and he's kind of lost hope, and he's going to jump off and kill himself. And that whole scene with Clarence jumping in, and it was thought that that was inspired by what happened to Antonio Veracali. See, the director, Frank Capra, at the time they were doing the screenplay, he actually traveled through Seneca Falls. He was going, I believe, to Auburn. To go through the canal, there's a couple of bridges. There's one bridge where this girl jumped off of. There's a plaque on there, bronze plaque, saying Antonio Veracali and what he did. And it's thought that he saw that, and that may have inspired the beginning or that scene from It's a Wonderful Life.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
Start your morning right with premium coffee roasts available at ZuzuNetwork.com and drink them in your Zuzu All Grown Up coffee mug. Also perfect for tea and hot chocolate.
Stay inspired throughout the day with the same gratitude journal used by Karolyn and Chris, and check out t-shirts, hats, books, Christmas keepsakes, and more at ZuzuNetwork.com/shop.
Join Zuzu's network today at ZuzuNetwork.com/join.
Karolyn is creating an international network of aspiring angels, everyday people who believe that they can help make the world a better place by making life better for even just one other person.
Let us know you want to earn your wings at ZuzuNetwork.com/join, and Karolyn and Chris will send you inspirational material to support you in your journey.
We're back with more Zuzu All Grown Up.
Towards the end of the movie, George is in a bad way. He owes all this money, and he may end up going to jail. And what happens is the community comes, they give him money, and they give him hope. They save him. That's kind of taken from Antonio Veracali. When he died and his father was in a bad way, the community came around and they helped him. It's a fascinating movie. I think it has great sense of hope into it. Every year when Monica Capra-Hodges comes, she has this little video of her grandfather accepting an award. And he talks about It's a Wonderful Life as one of his favorite movies. George Bailey was to be just all of us, just a regular person. That's why so many people love it, because they can say, wow, yeah, that's me. Sometimes things go wrong, but there's hope. It's always been near and dear to me. I look forward to it every year, to see Karolyn and all the others that come. Been part of the gift shop there. People come in from all over the country, all over the world. I get talking to them and hear the stories. The young ones, you know what? They see the movie and it has really inspired them to bring them from all over the country to see Karolyn and Carol and all the other things we have going on, which is the festival is just amazing. I'm interested in history, so I learned a lot about Antonio Veracali, what he did and how that inspired a whole community. It's not something that just happened a long time ago. It happens still today.
Well, Laura, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us exactly what you do?
My name is Laura Jacuzzo. I am the Programs and Outreach Coordinator at the Seneca Falls Museum and Tourism Center here in downtown Seneca Falls. So I'm just on here to talk about kind of the festival and what it's like every year, what it's like now. I think it started off very small, but I can attest to the fact that there are a lot of people who come here who come specifically for this event. I can attest to the fact that when I started here at the museum, I was talking to some of our part-timers who've been here longer, and I asked them, I was like, so yeah, like when's the busiest day? Is it like 4th of July? Is it, it has to be sometime in the summer. And they looked at me and they said, It's a Wonderful Life is the busiest time of the year that it will be. And so sure enough, last December was my first It's a Wonderful Life festival. And even though I live here, I've lived here most of my life, I couldn't believe just the stream of people, coming into our building. We have like several little things going on. We have a gentleman on the second floor who was reading the poem we believe Frank Capra read that inspired the events of It's a Wonderful Life. We have Mary Owen here, Donna Reed's daughter, and she represents the Donna Reed Foundation. We have the folks who made Lego set, a specific It's a Wonderful Life Lego set. They submitted it into a competition to see if it could potentially be made commercially. They didn't win the competition, but they still bring it every year. It's a Wonderful Life being made new again, through different generations. Everybody has something that they want to bring to it, keep it alive. Also, just not even in the museum, around the town, we have the Knights of Columbus. They roast chestnuts. We have obviously the Bridge Street Bridge, or as I often call it when I'm directing people there, I'm like, it's the Wonderful Life Bridge. You guys can attest to being at the gift shop at the It's a Wonderful Life gift shop, buying the bells. We have people who wrap the bells around the bridge and everything. They constantly around the festival. Where can I get the bells? Where are the bells? I need to get the bells so I can put my bell on the bridge. It's such a great sense of community. Of course, the biggest events that we have, the It's a Wonderful Life Parade. I am part of the Bedford Falls Mediocre Marching Band. Shout out to Gretchen McDonald, who runs it every year. And of course, the 5K. It's a big party, is what I always tell people. I'm like, even if you're not a huge runner, you have people at the back. There was a guy who was pushing a stroller. He was dressed as Buddy the Elf. I think there was someone like an inflatable moon lassoed by George. It brings such a sense of community, and anyone can enjoy it. Even if you're maybe not even the biggest fan of the movie, perhaps you can still come to this festival and feel this sense of Seneca Falls becoming Bedford Falls. So I thank you, Karolyn, for bringing that to Seneca Falls and giving us something to celebrate.
There's usually about 5,000 or 6,000 people in that race. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah.
And they gave me the privilege of getting to start it. How I started is I say my line, every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Just the amount of passion people have for this movie that has been around for a long time now.
I've had grown men cry telling us what effect the movie has had on in where we were at the Go Hotel or at the gift shop, and the profound effect the movie has on them. So that I was just reiterating what you were saying, Laura.
I would like to interject how this really came about with my participation. I got a phone call one day. It was a cameraman that I knew from the Oprah show. He'd been on a vacation looking at the fall leaves. He and his wife had been driving around the area there at Seneca Falls. He said, Karolyn, this is it. This is the place. This is the town. I tell you, you've got to come here. You've got to. Fortunately, Fran and the gang were open to bringing me in, and that's really how it all got started, because when I came to the town that night, I couldn't believe it. It was snowing. It was quiet. The bridge was lit up with angels on it. It was gorgeous. And I walked in, it was so silent because it was snowing. And I knew that this was the place. This was it. It was a message to me. I think Joe had his wings flapping about that time because he died before I had the opportunity to tell him what happened. He had pancreatic cancer. And because him and calling me, I wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for him. Joe Dituri, another nice Italian man. Now we have the rescuer, the driver, the man behind everything that goes easily and well oiled. This would be Mike Mirras.
I'm on the It's a Wonderful Life Museum Board of Directors. The way I got started was I was helping out with the Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, and our executive director, president, CEO, Anway Law, saw me helping with that year's inductees. And she said, man, can you join my museum board and help with the actors that we bring into the festival. And I thought, man, that's a great opportunity. Sure, Anway. The first festival, I had the privilege of picking everyone up at the airport, getting them to their hotel rooms. That is one of the biggest things that the museum does for the festival is coordinates bringing in the actors that come every year, arranging the accommodations. And then more importantly, for the festival goers, we coordinate the presentations that the actors and non-actors like to put on. One of the best things we do is help coordinate the autograph sessions. And we try to make sure that runs as smoothly as possible. I try to make sure you have a cup of coffee to keep you going through those long lines. And then I think the hidden gems are the dinners that we help coordinate with the actors and our guests. That Friday night's preview dinner where Monica Capra Hodges, the granddaughter of Frank Capra, hosts a dinner where she talks about the movie and her grandfather and how much he loved making it, throws in stories about all the actors. And then our close-out dinner, Old Lang Syne dinner, where we get to say as friends and as family, like you mentioned, Fran, family, we come together at the end to say goodbye to one another or so long, see you next year. I wanted to make sure we did talk about the race and how important that is. Fans love to come in, not only see the actors and enjoy the movie, but they love that race. And you're right, we have to make sure we get you to the start of that race. So myself and Fred Capozzi, our retired chief of police, managed to work our way through the back streets and past security and past the barricades and get you to the start of the race so that you can say your famous line and get them all started. What we do the rest of the year when we're not helping with the festival is we oversee the museum. We're in a temporary location right now because we're starting a large renovation to our home. Our home is in the first movie theater that was built in Seneca Falls, and it was built by another Italian immigrant, Charles Fennessy, using some state funding, part of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative funding. We were awarded money to reface the building, stabilize the building, stabilize the windows, and put a new front on the building. And we are now getting under contract to do that work. Then there'll be a phase 2 and phase 3 probably, where we gut the interior and then build the new state-of-the-art museum that will have a theater in it to show It's a Wonderful Life all the time, to host talks, presentations, other movies. It's a busy, busy time for us, even when we're not at the festival.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
To find out more about the organization featured in today's episode or a previous episode, and to learn more about how you can help, go to zuzunetwork.com/beanangel.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Have you heard? Affordable healthcare is better than ever. And right now there are more carriers and plans to choose from. If you're between 18 and 64 years old with a household income of $25,000 or less, this message is for you. Right now, the government's Affordable Care Act is available for individual and family health coverage plans with little to no cost to you. Don't gamble your health. Call Health Care for All. 70% of callers qualify for a zero-cost healthcare coverage. See if you are one of them. Call now. Our agents are standing by to help you get the health insurance plan you and your family needs and deserves. If you're uninsured or struggling to afford your current health insurance, help is just a phone call away. This is not Medicaid or Medicare. This is the marketplace with the largest selection of healthcare plans from the Affordable Care Act. To find a plan that's right for you, call 800-788-2406. That's 800-788-2406.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and don't have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-348-7312. 800-348-7312.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you don't pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call if you've been injured in an auto accident. Call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-348-7312. 800-348-7312. 800-348-7312.
Auto Accident Help Desk.
Zuzu's book club features recommendations from Zuzu herself on books she loves and thinks you will love also. All of the books that the club reads, fiction and nonfiction, are inspirational and uplifting. Folks, this is a life-enhancing club to be part of. You can sign up for free at zuzunetwork.com/book club. That's zuzunetwork.com/book club.
This is Zuzu, all grown up.
We just launched a crowdfunding campaign. Our listeners go to the website. You'll see a link to that, and then you can help us redo that beautiful old theater and make it into the new state-of-the-art It's a Wonderful Life museum that generations can come and experience that same feeling that we feel every year during the festival. They'll be able to interact with the actors through videos, and they'll be able to sit in Gower's drugstore, and they'll be able to see different scenes from the movie. And they'll be able to see the connections, why we think Seneca Falls was the inspiration for Bedford Falls. Of course, the movie will be playing, so they can always sit down and watch the movie among friends.
We also should mention that there is temporary museum still going now. So when they come to town, there will be a museum.
It's so popular that we opened a gift shop a couple doors up as well, so Fran can sell year-round.
So, Fran, how is it different from when you began?
I guess, first of all, the pure size of it. Who would have thunk it that we would get 6,000 runners, that thanks to you, we would get Mary Owens and Jimmy Hawkins, because in the beginning, Jimmy Hawkins was unable to come due to personal reasons, and now he's just as much a part of it as everybody else in the involvement. The community is more involved than ever when in the beginning. I mean, Carol, I remember the first time we at the Historical Society had purchased some books from you, and, you know, there weren't enough people really to shill. And you, after an exhausting weekend, sat on the floor and signed every one of those 300 books. I will tell you today, there's not even one left anyplace. I just want to say, only because it's been mentioned a few times, Seneca Falls is an interesting community. In 1890, there were no Italians in Seneca Falls. I know that was a big shame, but we rectified that. By 1960 census, 67% of the population claimed Italian heritage. With Frank Capra, who was extremely proud of his Italian heritage, he felt at home here. The other thing is Gould's Pumps, which I mentioned, was the largest pump manufacturer in the world. 1950, it went public. Norman J. Gould, the last Gould president, put the stock on the market. If you had purchased 100 shares of Gould stock in the 1950s, in 1970s, you were a multi-millionaire from that 100 shares. And it was owned by the workers. It wasn't the higher echelon of the company. It was the workers. I mean, we're not the Red Cross. Everybody needs this movie to make them feel what a wonderful concept. What would the world be if I had never been born? It's a wonderful thing to think about, and how your life does touch so many other lives. And we have the same people come back year after year after year. We have people who've come 10 times. Gentleman from Wales that wears his Welsh flag around his shoulder. He's been 3 or 4 times. Joyce Marvel's here, and she can tell you she sat for 15 years at the Gould Hotel. And people will come in, say, "Oh, I've been looking for you," or "Fran chilling again." I mean, you must write every time a bell rings in your sleep.
Well, I like doing it. I believe in it. For me, it's a natural.
And it shows.
And I've talked to so many people who've been on the bridge and their lives just aren't working and they've really considered suicide very seriously. And then for some reason or other, they watch the film and it just turns their whole life around and they realize they do matter and they do count. And so they want to live again. And that's the story of the movie. So for me to be able to share with the people that are having problems, it's just a joy for me to be able to share the film. And also the bells on the bridge. People write to me and say, put a bell on the bridge for my daughter or my son. It's in memory of, the bells are. And so it's a wonderful thing to be able to do it. And you see all these bells and all these people who are in memory of their loved ones. Thank you all for the time that you devote to this all year long before we come. That's really says a lot about who you are, what you're about. I want to share this information. You can get a hold of the Seneca Falls Museum and Tourism Center, and that's www.senecamuseum.com. The It's a Wonderful Life Museum can give you all kinds of information. Address is www.wonderfullifemuseum.com. And then there is the Real Bedford Falls, and that address is www.therealbedfordfalls.com. So if anybody is listening and they want to contact someone to learn more, then that's what we should do. Thank you so much for being with us today. Our renovations for the museum are our dream right now. You're part of my family.
I feel it. On a very personal note, when I've been sick or something, you've always emailed and sent regards, and I just think you're a very special person.
Oh, well, thank you, Fran. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing new guests come after our podcast, and I'm sure they're going to be interested in coming.
Thank you, folks. It's been fascinating learning more about the backstory of the festival that has been a blessed part of my life for more than the past 2 decades, and I know many others as well. If you've never been to the festival, please try to join us next time. It happens the second weekend of December each year, usually from a Friday through Sunday. And it's never too early to start making your plans, as accommodation tends to fill up quite fast. We truly hope to see you there time and again. In the meantime, thank you for listening. This has been Zuzu, all grown up.
Do you know someone who is earning their wings? Someone practicing kindness and service to others? Perhaps an organization or initiative helping make the world we live in a kinder, sweeter place.
Or maybe you've witnessed the miraculous, the divine, the magnificent in some way in your life, and you'd like to share it with others. Go to zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory and let us know more.
You may end up being featured on an upcoming episode of Zuzu All Grown Up. That's zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
We hope you've been inspired to live your most wonderful life now and to help those around you do the same.
Remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, there are people who care about you and your life makes a difference.
It is a wonderful life.
Check out ZuzuNetwork.com for more on today's and other episodes, including transcripts and merchandise you won't want to be without.
New episodes are coming soon.
For transcripts of today's broadcast, go to ZuzuNetwork.com/transcripts.
Watch a video clip of today's episode at www.instagram.com/Zuzu, all grown up. That's www.instagram.com/Zuzu, all grown up. Then click on the Reels tab from the top of the center of the page. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at www.instagram.com/Zuzu, all grown up. That's www.instagram.com/Zuzu, all grown up. Catch up on past episodes and discover currently premiering and upcoming episodes as well, and get helpful links and exclusive clips from our recordings. That's www.instagram.com/Zuzu, Zuzu, all grown up. Each month on the 25th, that's 25/25 on the calendar, we'll have a special episode dedicated to Christmas to keep the spirit alive throughout the year. We hope with a little extra help from our podcast and possibly 3 ghosts, you will be honoring Christmas in your heart and trying to keep it all the year, just like Dickens would have wanted.
Zuzu All Grown Up with your hosts Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
Announcer and guide Seth Kennedy.
Executive producer Kevin R. Stillmock.
Coordinating producer Holly Ann Way.
Technical producer Stella Joel.
Managing producer Karina Filatova. A Wonderful Land production.
In collaboration with Radio Wonderful.